Hello friends, welcome to our channel Knowledge Amplifier. So in my previous video I have already discussed the SCD Type 2 implementation in Snowflake using Python. If you want to know that detailed explanation, you can go through the link given in the description box. So today in this particular video I am going to discuss SCD Type 2 implementation in Snowflake using Talent. Okay, and what are the SQL queries which is running in the backend actually to implement SCD Type 2? That first we will try to explore, and then we will switch to lab implementation. Okay, so suppose we are having a source table which is containing employee information like employee number, employee name, salary and HRA. Okay, you can easily understand that this employee number column is basically our primary key column, because it is not possible that two different employee is having same employee number, right? And here is our target system. The target table structure, if you observe here, these four columns, whatever I am highlighting, those are kind of same like our source. There is employee number, employee name, salary and HRA. Along with that, some more columns is added. One is surrogate key, which is nothing but a synthetic primary key, because in this target system, employee number will no longer be a primary key, because it might happen that for this particular employee who is basically having the name A, he or she is getting some increment and his or her salary, if suppose changed, okay, from 2000 it is changed to 5690 or whatever, right? So in that case, for the same employee A, there will be two entry, because SCD type 2 basically maintain the complete history, right? So employee number is no longer a primary key in our target system. So for that we are keeping a synthetic primary key which will be auto incrementing, and that is surrogate key. Okay, apart from that, here we are having the columns like start date, end date, from which date to which date the particular row was valid. Okay, that we will be tracking here. Active status will be 0 or 1. If it is 0, that means this particular row is no longer valid. There some update happened and some other row has to be referred for latest information. And if active status is 1, that means it is indicating the latest record for that particular entity. Okay, the version is basically nothing but version number. For the first row, if it is coming in our target table, it will be having version number 1. Then if suppose some update happens, version number will change to 2. If suppose some more update happen for that same employee number, then the version number will be changed to 3. Like that, for different employees, different versions will be maintained. As simple as that. Okay, so this is how generally we are having the structure in our target system for SCD type 2, right? And now let's consider the day 0. So before running for the first time, this is the structure. We are having our source table where some data is there and our target system is completely empty. Okay, so because our target system is completely empty, what will happen if we are running our job? Then all the records, whatever available in source system, those will be simply inserted in our target system, and that's what is shown here. If you observe, this is our post-run scenario. The resource table is remaining as it is. In the target system, if you observe this particular part, this is nothing but our source data only. Only difference is in surrogate key, it is auto incremented, right? And here if you see start date is basically, suppose yesterday the job ran for the first time, because today is 22nd September. Okay, and yesterday was 21st September. So suppose yesterday our job ran for the first time. So the job runtime, it basically captured in the start date. That is, from that particular instance of time, this record became active in our target system and the downstream job can consume this data. Okay, and end date is null because this data is still valid. All the rows are still valid and updated. Okay, and active status is 1, which is indicating that for all this employee, these all rows are latest row. Okay, and version is also 1, which is pretty simple because this is the first time ingested all these rows. So obviously there is no earlier version available. So version is 1, right? Now the question comes, how we can do this? The logic is very simple, like our SCD type 1 insert only. That is, if in our target system there is no such employee number, then we will simply insert those employee number from the source to target. Okay, because the employee number are not available in target but available in source. That means those are new record, those has to be inserted, right? And that's what the insert query here I have written. I will explain that, but before that, let me just explain in simple words what algorithm is working. It is like here we are treating the target table as right hand side table, source table as left hand side table, and we will make a join on employee number column. Okay, and suppose if we are doing left outer join, then in that case, if a employee number is existing in source table, but if it is not existing in target table, then for the target table in the employee number column, we will be getting null values, right? So that is our check. If after performing left outer join in the target table, if we are getting employee number column as null, then we will simply insert those rows from source to target. Okay, that's what is written here. Insert into public.target table. Here we are inserting the data in employee number column, salary column, HRA column, employee name column, and then here start date also we are inserting. Start date is nothing but current date, that is at that point of time when the job is running, what is the timestamp that it is inserting. Okay, end date will be anyway null. Active status will be 1 because these are new insert. Okay, so obviously those will be latest state data only. So active status will be 1, will be hard coding, and version also will be 1. So if you see the select query, select t.employee number, t.salary, t.hra, t.employee name, etc. Then comma, the current timestamp I have picked. Then null. What is null? Null is basically end date. Here we are referring null because those new insert rows have no end date, right? So they are basically null. In active status we are keeping 1, version also we are keeping 1. Okay, these column informations we are taking from source table, that is our left side table. That's what here I have written from public.source table t. Okay, so source table is having the alias name t, and from the source table only these all columns I have picked up. Only the start time, here the current timestamp we have kept, and end time obviously null because these are new insert. Active status and version is 1, as simple as that. Okay, what we are doing here, we are doing left outer join with our target table on employee number because employee number is actual primary key, where d.employee number is null. What is d? D is nothing but our target table. See here, target table alias name we have provided d. Okay, so after performing left outer join with respect to employee number column, if we are getting null value in the target table for employee number, then we will simply insert. Like if you consider this particular scenario, when we perform left outer join, then in the target table, employee number, all rows will be simply empty, right? So if you consider target table as d, so d.emp number will be empty. So all these rows will simply insert from source to target. Okay, so at any point of time, this insert query can handle new record to be inserted from source to target. Okay, and here active status and version we are keeping 1, as simple as that. End date is null and start date is basically indicating the timestamp when the job ran. Okay, right? I hope you understood the insert scenario. Now let's consider the update scenario, because the beauty of SCD type 2 is it tracks the complete history. Now how we can maintain history using simple SQL queries, let us try to understand. Okay, so here day 1, suppose we started our process at 21st of September and now suppose it is 22nd September. Okay, so before the job ran, in the source table there is some changes happened. Like for example, for the employee number 100, which is basically employee number of employee A, okay, salary got changed from 2000 to 5690, and rest all are same. So if we run our process, what we should expect as output as part of SCD type 2? It will be very simple and the output should look like this. Okay, carefully observe. The employee A was having initial salary of 2000. If you see here at day 0, he was having salary 2000, right? So here if you observe what changes happened, that here we have kept one end date, because when we are running our job next day, that is on 22nd September, then this particular row is no longer the latest row for the employee A, right? So here we have kept one end date. Earlier end date was null, which was indicating that this row is the latest row, but now because this particular A salary changed, so this row became history. So here we are keeping end date. So from this particular start date and end date, in any later point of time, you can understand easily that what was the duration for which this particular row was valid. Okay. Then active status column, if you observe here, for this particular row it became 0, which is indicating that this particular row is no longer active row. That is, for employee number 100, you have to refer some other row because this is a history. Some update happened with respect to this row. Okay. And then version. Version is 1. That is fine because this was the first version related to employee A. As simple as that. But if you observe here, a new row is added, and observe the new row carefully. Surrogate key is incremented by one value always. Then here employee number is obviously same because for employee A the employee number is not changed. So it is having 100 value only. Employee name also same. Salary, it is showing the latest salary from source table. HRA also showing the same. And start date, it is showing the date when the job ran for the next day. That is, initially job ran suppose at day 0. So it is running at day 1. So for all the other rows, you can see start date was 21st September. But next day when the job is running for this particular table again, so some update happened. So that updates when we inserted. So that is on 2nd September, right? So start date, if you see, it is 2nd September. Okay. End date is null, as simple as that. So you can easily understand that this particular row for employee A is the latest row. Okay. Similarly, active status is also conveying the same because active status is 1. That means this is the latest row, and version is 2. What it is indicating? It is indicating that this row is second version. Where is the first version? First version is this one, which is containing older salary. Okay. And like this way, complete history is maintained in SCD type 2, right? Active status, version, start date, end date, all these are helpful for complete history maintenance, right? So obviously question comes, how it is implemented using SQL Query? It is again very simple. So the whole process can be implemented using one update query and one insert query. Okay. What the update query is doing? So if you see, when for employee A, there is some changes. Here end date was updated for this row. Active status from 1, it is changed to 0. Okay. So in simple words, whenever there is some changes happened in the source system, in the target system, the update also should be getting reflected, right? So here, first step, we have to execute some update query. First, we have to detect what are the rows in the source system has some changes, and those we have to update like end date and active status. And then we have to execute one insert query to insert the latest status. Okay, right? And here, point to be noted, when making a new insert for employee name, salary, HRA, these 3 rows and employee number. So these we will be getting from source system. Okay, surrogate key anyway, it will be just auto incremented value. Okay. And start date, it will take the latest current timestamp when the job is running. Active status will be 1. But the version, what it should do? The older version, it should increase by value 1 and it should be putting in the version column. Okay. That also we have to take care. So what is the update query? If you see, update, target table, D, set, end date and active status. So end date, we are putting the current timestamp when the job is running. So that means our older record for employee A, which is becoming history. So for that we are putting end date, that is basically this end date, and active status we are putting 0 because for that older record it is no longer valid. So active status we are keeping 0. So as you can see here, active status becomes 0. From the source table we are comparing where the source table employee number is matching with target table employee number, but any of the other column is not matching. Maybe employee name is not matching, or HRA not matching, or salary not matching. Okay. So based on employee number, we are patching up source and target, and we are checking in all other columns like employee name, salary, HRA, whether there is any change in between existing target data and the source data. If there is any change for any column, then we are simply updating. Okay. And one more thing, if you observe here, we are putting d.endDate is null in the update query. Why? Because here in the update purpose, or for update comparison in between source and target, we need to only consider those rows for which in the target system the end date is null. Okay. If suppose end date is not null, that means those are already history. We no need to even do any process on them, right? So basically we are filtering that data so that we need to operate this update query or comparison on a lesser volume of data. Okay. So that's why we are putting d.endDate is null. So I hope you understood this. Very simple. This update query, all it is doing, it is just updating the end date and active status if there is any changes in between source and target for the existing records in the target system. Now what we have to do? We have to insert those changes in the target system. So for that, here we are having this code. So what this code is doing? Here we are first making a join kind of activity in between employee number with source and target. Okay, like if you consider this particular set and this particular set before the job ran. So what we did, first we executed update statement. So once we executed update statement, here end date and active state is updated. Perfect. Now here on employee number, we are making a join, and this time we are doing inner join because the reason is very simple. We might need to consider update only if in target system that employee is existing. If in the target system this employee itself is not existing, that means it will be simply insert, right? So here we are doing inner join first thing, because if the employee number is matching in between both source and target, that means for those records only there is a possibility that might go some changes. Okay, so if you see here, insert into public.target table, here we are inserting the data in employee number, salary, HRA, employee name, start date, end date, active status, version. Okay, so you can easily understand one thing: employee number, salary, HRA, employee name will simply flow from source to target. Start date we will be basically putting when the job ran. End date will be null, because suppose for this record, this is the latest record, right? So end date will not be there, so end date will be null. Active status will be 1, right? Because this is the latest record, so active status will be 1. And version, how we need to update? We need to consider basically the older maximum version. Like here, older version was 1, so now we will basically take older version plus 1. That is, we are keeping 2, right? So that's what here we are doing in the select query. Select t.employee number, t.salary, t.hra, t.employee name. Then here current timestamp when the job is running, we are taking in the start date column. Then null. Null is basically end date. And then here 1. What this 1 is? This 1 is basically active status. Because for this particular record A, whatever change happened, that when we are inserting, for that one, active status is 1 only, right? So here we are putting 1, comma, d.version plus 1. So what is D? D is basically alias for our target. T is basically alias for our source. Okay. So here d.version plus 1 from source table, comma, target table, where source table employee number and target table employee number are matching. And if there is any change in between salary or HRA or employee name, that is all other columns in between source and target, then only we need to insert them. And d.end date is this end date. Okay. So we are putting end date condition also. Very, very important why we are putting this. Let us try to understand. So here what we are doing, we need to insert that record only for which just now we made an end date. Like here if you consider, first we executed update statement. So for this particular update statement when we executed, then here we have put some end date, right? So when we are putting end date just now, that means what? That means those records got some changes. Only those rows we have to insert newly. We no need to bother about other rows. Like here, suppose B also undergo some changes. Then for B also, there we will be getting some end date. Then B also we need to consider in a new insert, right? So here we are filtering based on the end date what just now we used in our update statement. Okay. And along with that, we are checking that, okay, whether employee number, salary, HRA, etc. changed or not. And then we are simply inserting. Okay. That way what will happen? Here if you see all these values, it will be taking active status 1 which we have hard coded. Version number is 2 happening because in the end date column when you are filtering, only this particular row will be coming. In this row version number is 1, and here what we are doing? Here we are doing d.version plus 1. So basically version number from 1 it will be changed to 2. As simple as that, right? And that way we can easily get SCD type to figure. Okay. So now let's see the implementation. So what I will do, I will go to talent. And here first step I will be doing T pre-job. Okay. And here first I will be doing T JDBC. There is a component. Basically we will be connecting our Snowflake with talent using JDBC. So T JDBC connection. And here first we will set up the connection with our Snowflake system. Okay. So before that I will execute some queries in Snowflake. Like I will first create a database. Okay. Here I will create my source table, and here I will insert some data in my source system, and then here if I execute select start from source table, here I will be getting this kind of data. Now in target system, if you see here our target table, surrogate key we are keeping auto increment, employee number, employee name, salary, HRA we are keeping as it is, start date, end date is date time format, active status is integer, version is integer, and primary key is our surrogate key, which is a synthetic primary key. Okay, this is the structure. Hope you are easily getting from the discussion. Now if I do select start from target, here currently we have nothing. Okay, so now let's first set up the connectivity. I will go to this particular Snowflake connector, and in the JDBC URL, here we need to put the configuration like this. Okay, so JDBC://Snowflake. Then here we need to pass the account. Then here again we will put account as parameter. then what warehouse we have to use, what is the database we have to use, what is the schema we have to use. Okay, so these informations I'll be passing, so I'll be copying them, and here I'll be pasting. Okay, so here some parameters we are using like Snowflake account. So here what I will do, I will go to context variable, and here I will add my Snowflake account. Okay, and here value, so my Snowflake account is basically up to AWS I will be taking, and then here in the value part I will be putting, and then here next one is basically account. Here we have already given, then warehouse. Okay, so Snowflake warehouse, here we are using compute WH. I'll be just keeping that, and then here Snowflake database, we are using ramu database, and here Snowflake schema name, public. Okay, right, and then here what I will do, here we need driver. Okay, so driver we need to choose Snowflake, so here I will just go and search for Snowflake. This is the jar file what I will choose. Okay, driver class, so for driver class this is the one what you have to put. This one I'll be providing in the description box or in the comment section also. User ID I will be putting. Okay, and password I will be putting here. So here I have given the password. In the advanced setting, if you want, you can put something like auto commit or something. I don't want auto commit as of now. So what I will do, I will just run it and test it once whether it is working or not. So here you can see exit code 0. That means it perfectly worked. Okay. So what I will do now, I will take a component having the name JDBC SCD ELT. Okay. So SCD means slowly changing dimension. ELT is basically indicating this is extract load transform process. That is, it will be performing using SQL queries. It will not extract the data and bring in talent and then do the activity. Okay. In Snowflake itself, it will do. So here I will go there, and here use an existing connection. So here I'll be using my existing connection. Okay, right, and then here source table, target table we have to provide, DB schema. Okay, so schema name is anyway public what we are using. Okay, source table, so what is our source table? Our source table is having the name source table only. So here in this place we'll be putting source table. And what is the target table? The target table is having this name. Here we'll be putting target table only. Action on table, as of now we are keeping none. Then here schema. Okay, so here we will specify the schema of our target table. So here if you see, the target table is having the column like surrogate key. So first one is surrogate key, and this is nothing but an integer type. Okay, integer type as of now we can keep, right? You can just make this little bit bigger. And this is a synthetic key, and then here next column I can choose employee number. Okay, this is also integer type. Then here employee name. Here length I can give some dummy value like 28 and so, right? And then here salary. Here also I can put this as integer, and then HRA. Here I can put as integer only, and then start date. Start date will be basically date time object, and here date pattern also I can provide. Like here for example YYYY hyphen mm hyphen dd then HH colon mm colon ss. Okay, right, and then here end date also I can copy this one only, that is basically end date, and here this will also be date time kind of date time. And here what I will do, I will copy this particular, I'll keep this as date, and then here I will paste this one. Okay, now end date is done. Apart from that, any column is there, active status, that also we are putting, and that is an integer as of now I am keeping. And then another one is basically version. Okay, version also I can keep as integer, so I will keep on okay, right? And then here see surrogate key it is asking, so surrogate key will be our surrogate key only. Basically here our surrogate key is having the name surrogate key. If you are having some other name, you can basically choose from your schema and put that here. Now here source keys. Okay, what is our source key? Our source key is employee number, right? So we will choose that here, employee number. Now here SCD type 2 you want to implement, so I will choose SCD type 2. Now here SCD type 2 fields, on which field we will consider the updates and all for comparison. So here employee name, salary and HRA, this one we will check in between source and target where there is some changes or not, right? So here I will put here employee name, salary and HR, right? So almost with this our connection is ready. If you want you can do some advanced setting and all, but as of now it is not required. So if you see currently we are having target system completely empty. So let me just run this code and show you. So here it thrown some error, Snowflake utility check and throw exception. Okay, so if you want to understand what exception it thrown, you can check in Snowflake query history. Basically this particular queries whatever our JDBC is using, that is nothing but SQL queries only, right? So in Snowflake history if you go, you can easily understand what is the error coming up, right? So here we will check that. So here I will go to history. So here if you see this particular query issue happened. Okay, so update public dot target table d comma public target table source d. Okay, where employee number on salary. Sorry, let me just confirm. Okay, sorry. Here start date, end date we have to change, right? So what is our start date column? Our start date column is this one. Our end date column is end date, and end date field type should be null, that is fine, and mapping should be Snowflake, right? So here we will choose Snowflake, and then let us try to execute. So here t.surrogate key invalid identifier. Okay, so what is the SQL query? This time it has executed, let us see. So here this is the update query. Update table set end date is this from target table where employee number and end date is null, right? So here surrogate key also it is comparing, if you see, but surrogate key should not be compared. So here let me just confirm once. Employee number, okay, this should not be surrogate key. Employee number, employee name, salary and HRA we want to compare, right? So here HRA I will put, and here I will run it again. So here if you observe, this is done. So let's go to our target table and let's see how is this set up. So if I go to target table, here you will see surrogate key is 1 to 6, and all these records we are getting as expected. End date is null, active status and version is null, but this should not happen. Why it happened? So let me just check. So here, okay, here log active status you have to enable, and active status column is this one, and log version also we have to enable, and version is basically this column. Okay, so what I will do for the demo purpose, I will just clear this particular table. I will just create this particular table once, and then here if I do select start from target table, currently nothing is there. So let's just make a fresh one. Okay, duplicate column name version. Why it is having duplicate column name? Oh, end date should be actually end date. Sorry for this. Let me just check whether any data came or not. No data came. So just a setting mistake. So here it is done. Now let's execute select start from target table. Here you can see that end date is basically null, which is as expected. Active status 1 version 1. Now what we can do some changes. Like for example, for the employee A, the salary we are changing. Now in the source table, A salary is 5,690. In the target table, if we see for A, it is still 2,000. Okay, so let's run our process and see what is happening. So here if you observe, it is done. Now if I do select start from target table, here you will see for employee A, this became now the end date. Okay, so from here you can understand that this record was valid from 10:15 p.m. on 22 September to 10:16 p.m. Okay, like that. Active status is 0, that means this is a older row, version is 1. And see, for the same employee A new record came, which is having end date null, active status 1 version. Okay, right? Now suppose we are doing 2 update and 1 insert. 2 update is where for the employee B, here salary and HRA both we are updating, and we are inserting a new employee MG. Okay, so here we are executing them. Okay, and then here if we are running the process, here both the insert and update should be handled, right? So let's see. So here it is done. Now if I do select start from target table, here you will see that for the employee B, the older record got an end date, active status became 0, version is 1. And if you go in the lower part, here you can see for the employee B, a new record got inserted having version 2, active status 1. Okay, so basically this is indicating this is the latest row for employee B, and MG, a new employee is added. And even if you go to history, whatever queries I have told you, that insert query and then update query, all this it is executing only. So obviously you can go to this kind of history, and here you can understand what are the queries actually it is executing in the backend, right? So I hope you understood the process. The main intuition is basically these SQL queries only, and I hope you understood how you can implement the same using Talent, using simple JDBC connection, right? So this is all for this video. If you find this video helpful, then please like, share and comment. Subscribe our channel if you have not subscribed till now. And don't forget to press the bell icon to get the notification of our latest videos. Thank you.